Hello, everybody. This is Ed Wanambwa with Ed Travels, and I Took the Leap travel blog. Coming to you today, April 13th, 2020. Still in Lapu Lapu, Cebu City, Lapu Lapu City, Cebu Province in the Philippines, Central Visayas. Um, haven't talked to you in a couple days. Really planned to do an Easter video yesterday, but I sort of figured that everybody was sort of spending time with their families, or maybe you were in self-reflection or whatever. So I kind of decided not to do it. I ended up having a very interesting day. Got a chance to get out for a little bit. Um, you know, Helped a friend of mine who needed some help grocery shopping, that type of thing. But I'm back again with the COVID-19 update. I mean, that still goes on. That's still something that the world is dealing with. So, first of all, let me get it out of the way. Since I talked to you last, we've reached in the U.S. A real somber and grave milestone. We went over 500,000 confirmed cases. So as of today, the last time I checked the numbers, they're always changing, and I'll talk about that. But in the United States, we have 560,433 confirmed cases, with 22,115 deaths and 1,797 new cases. In the world, we had 1.8 million, 1,853,246 confirmed cases, with 114,520 deaths. I really wasn't able to nail down a new number in the last 24. Same thing with the Philippines. We're at 4,648 confirmed cases, 220 confirmed deaths. And here in Central Visayas, we've only had a few new cases. We went for about 3 days, I think it was, here in Cebu, Lapu Lapu area. But we had no new cases and no deaths. Then I think on Easter Sunday, or maybe it was the day before, there was actually a little neighborhood in Cebu City that they had, a lady had a confirmed case. I think 68-year-old lady had a confirmed case. So immediately, with all credit to Cebu and those officials, immediately they locked down that particular neighborhood. Everybody in that neighborhood had to stay put and get tested. And I think that that's a very smart and pragmatic and practical way to deal with it. They knew that somebody was infected. They knew she had interacted with these people. So boom, let's shut this whole neighborhood down from going out and dealing with anybody else. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I can look right here at the laptop and come up with a name for it. But if you're not here in Cebu, it really doesn't matter. I'll probably butcher the hell out of the name of it. The second part here is, I got my notes. The second part here is, I'm going to touch on our enhanced community quarantine updates. First of all, we are going into the 4th week, so we're almost at a month. Well, at the end of the week, it'll be almost a month. It's supposed to be over, actually, tomorrow was the initial date, but now it's been stretched out until the 28th, which is exactly 2 more weeks. I can sit back and say, from a personal standpoint, when you look at things, you can tell things are a little different with all the shuttered doors and all the shops. But the little stalls on the side of the road, the little produce stalls selling eggs, some of the sorry stores. I mean, some of these people are still making money. It's business as usual. Of course, the social distancing signs, and you have to have a mask on, things of that nature. The little bus runs a little regularly here, taking people up to Grand Mall, down here to Pajak. So you can sort of get around. I'm within walking distance of both major grocery stores, so I'm blessed in that aspect. Secondly, there has been very strict enforcement of this enhanced community quarantine. I'll give you a prime example. Easter, people wanted to go to the beach, wanted to go swimming. The governor of Cebu, Gwendolyn Garcia, came out and plainly told everybody, if you go to the beach, we're going to arrest you. They even had buses that were set up as temporary detention, temporary detention cell at the beach. Well, anyway, 20 plus people were arrested for swimming Sunday. Some people just ain't gonna get it. They told you, they caught them in the water, they arrested them, now you got a case and you got to pay a fine. Hey, you can't tell other people. The second thing, curfews. They're not playing about curfews. If you don't have a good ironclad reason, quarantine pass or not, you need to be in your house at curfew. So they're locking people up for that. Gambling. Cockfighting is a big thing here in the Philippines. So I guess out of pure boredom, or maybe it's just money, whatever, there have been several arrests for cockfighting and gambling of other sorts. And also the drug busts, the meth, the shabu. There have been numerous busts. I guess it's kind of hard to get around now, so much police presence. Third thing I wanted to touch on was, are there going to be any further extensions? In my gut feeling, yes. Until there's a sustained stop in new cases and more testing is done, I think that the politicians here are walking a tightrope between the economic survival of their constituents and their mental well-being, and also trying to mitigate and stop the spread of this virus. And that's a very tenuous line that they have to walk, because you're talking about, that leads into my fourth point, is the extended economic impact that this is putting on the people here in the Philippines, the hobble drivers, the only one person on the back of a motorbike, one person on a motorbike, people can't get to work. So even if you do open those businesses up, then what are you going to do about that? Because, initially, people here, especially the mayors, like, come on, man, you at least got to give us that. But then that leads to the issue of, you're going to have those motorbike guys that are going to take people around and charge them because they're trying to make a living and say, oh, this is my cousin, this is my girlfriend, this is my brother. So you're going to start going into, how am I going to really verify that this is a family member or not a customer? So the best way to do it is just don't let it happen at all. And then that has other consequences. So you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But if you err on the side of caution and trying to stop the spread of this virus, then you have to go with, zero tolerance when it comes to that. And yesterday, a good friend of mine who's a mental health professional here had a long talk, and we talked about the long-term psychological impact of this. And from what I see, the Filipino people are wonderful people. As I walked around the neighborhood yesterday with my friend, people were out, they were staying close to their house. They weren't bunching up together. They were, hi, how are you? They were playing music and cards and stuff like that at their houses, adhering to social distancing to a certain extent, but you're in your house. So hell, if you got it, they got it. I mean, damn, that's just the way it is. But people weren't in the streets. They weren't congregating in large groups. And I think that leads into the culture and the mindset of the Filipino people. They adhere to the law for the most part. And I don't see any major uprisings. Maybe domestic violence, which is all over the world, is probably on an uptick. People simply getting tired of the person that they're quarantined with. But I don't see the masses getting restless here. Yes, isolated cases, that's going to happen. There's no way you can stop that. But on a broader sense, I don't see that happening here that much. So I think the psychological input here is strained, granted, but it's still in a pretty good place. It's a pretty safe, chill place to be. So, I mean, globally, I think that places like the U.S. are having a hell of a time with it. People still going to mass, church, get-togethers on Easter. People are getting tired. Some of the states under political pressure. And I won't get into that. Like I said, if you know my Facebook username and you know my profile, you know exactly how I feel about that. I will tell you exactly how I feel about that. It's not cool. And I'm not gonna get into that diatribe because this video ended up being 37 minutes long. And as people still continue to flatten the curve, and you hear that, but it's trying to minimize and mitigate the spread of this virus. That's what people are trying to do here. They're trying to minimize and mitigate the spread of this virus. So flattening the curve is when you get those cases down to the point that you're managing, the disease. A shout out to my girl Darnell. And yes, I am going to do a little more research into the 5G connection. I do believe that there's something there because it's a very odd quote unquote coincidence, which I really don't believe in, that there's a mass rollout of 5G towers in the middle of this COVID-19 outbreak when people aren't in the streets, and the unverified stories that I've heard of mass deaths with bees and birds, and the people putting the 5G up in hazmat suits. That's really odd. I've watched quite a few videos, but before I delve into it, I want to be a little bit more educated. But Miss Berry, like I said, I miss you very, very much, and thank you so much for your love and continued support. And that brings me, towards the end of this video. It's like, what will the future look like after this? That's so hard to tell. There's so many variables. What would travel be like? What would our economy be like? Are people going to be able to get the jobs that they lost or they were furloughed back from? I mean, there was just a story of Disney laying off, furloughing 43,000 employees. That is massive. When the happiest place on earth lays off 43,000 people, that's major. And I'm pretty sure all of those people are not going to get those jobs back whenever that place can reopen. I mean, the airlines and all of these other places. I mean, what's going to happen here? The Postal Service, what's going on in the U.S.? A lot of things are in the air. And then there's a looming election in November. What's going to happen? And again, what would that future be like? I have a feeling that masks from this time on are going to be a required article of clothing around the world. This thing is just not going to go away overnight. Are there going to be a second wave, a third wave? Who knows? There's so many intangibles. And that's why I just urge people to find a spiritual way to try to find some balance and distance yourself from the uncertainty of the future, because if you dwell on it, it's going to drive you crazy. Control is just an illusion. It's an exercise of your ego. You don't control a damn thing when it comes to this virus. The virus is going to set the timetable. But there is one person I do want to send a shout out, and from what I've seen, that's Dr. Anthony Fauci with the National Institute of Health. I've had discussions with some of my friends about some other issues concerning Dr. Fauci, and I've also seen the hate that has gone towards him from, a certain group of people, because he committed the cardinal sin of daring to have the character and integrity to speak the truth. And it's sad that speaking the truth these days gets you in trouble. And I'll leave it at that. But in these times, we need honesty and we need truth to help people digest and deal with this. This ain't a political thing. This ain't a pro-Trump, against Trump, left-wing, right-wing, Democratic, Republican, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, because the coronavirus doesn't give a flying frog's ass what political party you belong to, what racial group you fall into. It kills indiscriminately, so get over that BS. There's a lot more that we need to worry about. People are going hungry. People are dying every day. Have you checked on your neighbor? Have you checked on those people that you care about? Maybe there's something that we can learn from this virus. Then maybe we need to learn how to be human again and get our heads out of our ass and off of our phones and get out here and start caring about other people and giving to people who don't have. I visited families this week that didn't have food, that were hungry, that all it took was $1, $1.50, $2 or more for this family to eat today and maybe the next day. Think about that. Yeah, I mean, I love the jokes that I see on Facebook when I see, my biggest enemy is not eating all my snacks, and that's what that's why my mask is such a good thing to keep me from eating. But you got food. Consider yourself blessed. You got food. You're not going hungry at night. So while we're looking at all of this woe is me and how inconvenienced we are, there are people, there are children, there are people going hungry, sleeping outside, no shelter, no nothing. I've seen it. I do everything within my power and my economic means to try to make a difference where I'm at. There's a reason why I'm here in the Philippines. I don't know why. I'm praying for that clarity. But in the meantime, I'm going to work to be of maximum service to my fellow man, regardless of who they are, regardless of who they support, regardless of who they like, regardless of whether they like me or not. Compassion is not taking care of somebody because you feel sorry for that person. Compassion is loving somebody and taking care of somebody regardless of how they treat you, regardless of what they think about you. Think about that. Again, I would really like it if you would click the subscribe button, hit subscribe, hit the like for this video, and also hit the bell notification so when I upload new videos, you can get a notification. I really appreciate it. To all the people that I have dialogue with back and forth, again, the comment section down below is for that. Whether you like the video, you don't like the video, I'm a big boy. Tell me any improvements, things you like, things you don't like. Hell, we're all grown. Let's deal with this. And I would just like to announce at the very end of this video that I'm working on a short film project about my experience of 30 days of isolation in this room for between 20 and 22 hours every day. I'm in this beautiful little sanctuary. So I'm working on that right now because I've just gone over the 30-day point. And I think you're going to be kind of surprised with what I found, because I was totally shocked with what it's like to be by yourself. There's no one here but me. I mean, you got the guards, you got other tenants in here, but I don't really interact with anybody besides going to the store or something like that. So it's not like I'm in solitary confinement, but in a way it is. 22 hours a day. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. And I also wanted to let I want to make sure I don't forget anything here on my handy notes, because I got that CRS disease. Can't remember, the last part. But again, Edwin Amber with Ed Travels with my COVID-19 update from Lapu Lapu City, Cebu Province, Central Visayas in the Philippines. So again, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Namaste.